Welcome back to Smoked Meat with Jeff. Let's talk about a holiday dish. Today I'm going to show you how to smoke a whole turkey. Now this could take you a couple of days depending on where you get your turkey from and if it's frozen, because obviously you want this, it has to be unfrozen for you to begin on this. So if you pick it up frozen, plan on about a 4-day journey to turkey deliciousness. I have it's a little over a 15-pound turkey right now. This has been defrosted. If you pick it up frozen, let it defrost in the refrigerator for at least 2 days, and then we're going to have a full day of brining. So we're going to brine this for a total of 24 hours. Real simple brine. If you don't know how to make a brine, check out the basics section of my YouTube channel, and it'll give you the basics of brining. But I'm going to do mine a little bit differently today with a brine of kosher salt and brown sugar, and then I'm going to do some low-fat buttermilk in my brine to really drive the buttermilk flavor into the turkey itself. So I'm going to get started on this, and then tomorrow we'll go over what I'm going to season the outside of the turkey with. I think I'm going to do a split turkey. I'm going to do one half with one type of seasoning and the other half with another type of seasoning. But I'm going to get this started on the brining for right now, and then we'll check back in tomorrow. Tip for brining: if you have a large bird like this, pick up a disposable styrofoam cooler. This is perfect for brining. The turkey fits in here. I can dump all the brine, fully submerge it, cover it up, make sure you put down a good layer of ice on the inside, because you need to make sure that your turkey and the brine stay cold so you don't end up with any spoiled meat. So I'm going to get started on brining, and we will check back in tomorrow after that is done and get started on getting this onto the smoker. Well guys, here we are 24 hours later. I have just pulled my turkey out of the brine, washed it off really well, and went ahead and patted it dry with a couple of paper towels. As you can see, I've got the smoker warming up in the background, and we are going to do 2 different flavors on this. I'm going to basically cut the or split the turkey down the middle. I'll do one flavor on one side and another flavor on another. So let's get to some of the basic ingredients we're going to need to apply to this before we get this on the smoker. I'm going to be smoking with cherry today, and a turkey typically will take anywhere between 5 and 7 hours depending on how big your turkey is. I've got about a 15-pounder right here. This should take me about somewhere between 5 and 6 hours, maybe 6.5 hours, depending on how well I can regulate the heat on my smoker, which will be set at around 250 degrees is what I'm going to maintain for as long as possible. There's a couple of tricks that we're going to do while we're cooking this, and we'll get to that as we progress. So let's move on to the basic ingredients. So since we're going to be doing 2 flavors today, I'm going to have 2 sets of ingredients going, but most importantly, you're going to need lots and lots of butter. We want to get at least a full stick of butter under the skin on this turkey. So we're going to need butter for this today. On one side, I'm going to do a little bit of olive oil to get my spices to stick, and then I have my my salty and smoky homemade rub that I do. And then on the other side, I'm going to slather this whole thing with a stone ground mustard with horseradish, and on top of that I've got some store-bought rub. This is a kind of a garlic's herb rub that I'm going to put on that side. So let's get started on prepping our turkey for the smoker. So for prepping the turkey, we want to separate the skin on the breast portion of our turkey, and I find it best to start from the back end. Just slip your fingers under the skin and then work your way forward, separating as much skin as possible without actually punching through on the front side, because we're going to be creating basically a pocket in here that's going to hold butter. And if you leave this little section down the center attached, you end up with a second pocket on the other side. And from that point on, we're going to take our butter that I have cubed here and just start putting it down inside there, and just divide the stick of butter up between the 2 sides until you've got that whole stick of butter under the skin. And tuck one underneath the the legs as well from the inside here. So now that we've got the butter in here, we are good to go. In fact, I've got room for more butter, so I'm going to stick a little more in here. Now once we have the butter all prepped and stuffed under the skin of our turkey, then we are just going to start slathering on the seasoning and the olive oil and the mustard. So I'm gonna get 2 sticks of butter into this bad boy, and we'll be right back with applying the ingredients on the 2 separate sides. All right, now I've got all the butter under the skin. This is where the messy part begins. Start with the breast side up, because we are going to slather this whole thing in the 2 different ingredients, and then we're actually going to flip it over and do the other side. The first hour or so on the smoker, we want to cook this with the breast side down, just to get things started. And then after about an hour, hour and a half or so, we're going to take this thing in the smoker and flip it back over so that we have the breast side up for the remainder of the cooking session, because you don't want the breast directly on the heat source for an extended period of time. All right, so now it's going to get messy. Make sure you've got a towel handy that you'll throw directly into the washing machine when you're done here, so you don't end up with any cross-contamination issues. And we are going to start slathering this side with mustard and get it into all the nooks and crevices as you're slathering that. And after I've got this slathered, I'm going to be putting on this this garlic herb rub. And then the other side we're going to do with just some olive oil. And I'm going to rub this in. And then I'm going to apply my my other rub here as well. So this is going to take me a little bit, and you guys don't have to watch me slather this and make a huge mess. So let me get this done, and then I'll come back and I'll show you. This will have been flipped over. I will have it on a Bradley rack just to make it easier to carry, and then it's time to get this this tom on the smoker. So my turkey is prepped, and I apologize if you catch any wind noise. It's just been a really strange weather day today. It was raining this morning. Now we got blue skies, and the wind is kicking up, so hopefully it won't interfere with this too much. But as you can see, I've got the turkey breast side down with the 2 different flavors. I've got this side is the mustard and herb. This side is the olive oil and my home blend of spices. And this is ready to go on the smoker. And then, like I said, in about an hour to an hour and a half, I'll probably cut it right down the middle, hour and 15 minutes, I will take this thing out of the smoker and actually flip it over so that we have the breast side up, so that that's not on the direct heat source, because we don't want that breast meat, the best part of this thing, to really dry out. Now, people have asked me, so why don't you bacon wrap this thing? I have done bacon wrap turkey. It's pretty darn good. The only issue that I have with cooking turkey is that the skin tends to get rubbery on the smoker. And I'm going to show you how to get crispy skin towards the end of the cooking process on this. But when you put on a layer of bacon, yes, that bacon tastes amazing. But number one, the skin really doesn't cook and it stays rubbery underneath that bacon. And the skin also acts as a barrier that kind of keeps that bacon flavor from getting into the turkey itself. Because we have brined this, I'm not too worried about a lot of flavor going into the meat from the spices, although it will happen. But because we brined it, we've already threw a lot of flavor and moisture into the turkey meat itself. So I'm going to cook this without the bacon today. And when we get to the end, like I said, I'll show you how to finish this thing off so that you have a crispy skin, not a rubbery, leathery kind of skin. So let's go get this thing on the smoker. All right, we are about an hour and 15 minutes or so into the cooking cycle. And now it's time to flip our bird, which of course is not the easiest thing in the world to do, especially without burning your fingers. But as you can see here, I've got the turkey breast side down, and now it's time to flip it breast side up and then put it back onto the smoker. To see if I can do this a little bit easier, I have a second Bradley rack, and what I'm going to attempt to do is basically take this whole turkey and tip it onto the other Bradley rack. So let's see if I can make this happen. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Okay, so I have this breast side up. I'm going to go grab my mustard and my spices and just kind of redo some of the spices that I have on here on those two different flavors, and put this back on the smoker. Oh, it's tasting good. And then we'll keep it about at the 250 degree mark for another few hours. So right now we're about an hour and 15 minutes in. I anticipate a total of 6 hours of cook time, and we'll check back in a couple hours and see where we're doing. At this point, I'm going to put the meat probe in with my iGrill to monitor the temperature. We're going to get it up to about 145 degrees. The finished temperature is 165 degrees, but I have a little trick for crisping up this outside skin during the last portion of the cooking time. So we have between 145 degrees and the finished temperature of 165 degrees to make that happen. So recoat, throw it back in the smoker, and we'll be back in a little bit. Look at that smoke, just beautiful. Well, I got a notification from my iGrill that the turkey has reached an internal temperature of 145 degrees. So I'm going to go grab that out of the smoker real quick and give you a peek at what we're working with. Yeah, look at that. Is that looking amazing or what? So now we've got the, you can hear my iGrill beeping over here. Alright, so now that we got this out here, we're at an internal temperature of 145. We want to get to 165, but we also don't want our skin to be kind of leathery like you can see it is here. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick up the temperature of the smoker. Typically, I was trying to keep it around 250. I'm going to get it up to 280 or higher, closer to 300, until the internal temperature reaches 165. So I'm going to shut my iGrill up here. There we go. Go put this thing back on the smoker, and then stoke the fire, get it up to 280 to 300 degrees until the internal temperature of the thickest part of the breast on this hits a temperature of 165 degrees, and then it's time to pull it off the smoker. Something I don't touch on a lot of my my videos that you guys have seen is I have a big water dish underneath the cooking grate in my smoker that I obviously keep stocked with water. Typically, I make it through an entire smoking session without having to refill that, but because this smoked turkey takes longer than usual, we're approaching, I think we're going to hit about the 6-hour mark for making this happen. I'm going to have to go ahead and refill that because all of that water is evaporated off, and you want to make sure that the inside of your smoker stays nice and moist so that the meat doesn't dry out. So I've already kicked up the heat. The internal temperature is starting to rise. I think we're at about 149 or so right now, so we still have a little ways to go. But I'm going to go ahead and refill my water reservoirs just to make sure that the smoking environment stays nice and humid in there, so things don't dry out too much. Alright, and here we go. We have our finished smoked turkey with two different flavorings. I got this side's going to be the mustard side, and then this is going to be the olive oil and regular seasoning side. So Let me see if I can get a close-up shot for you while I slice into this bad boy. I can tell you that the hollow cavity on the inside is just full of juice. So I'm going to make sure I capture that before I transfer it off of the Bradley rack. So let me see if I can get you some good shots before the sun goes down, because got the clouds are out now and the lighting is getting bad. But let's see what I can get for you guys. Alright, sorry guys, the lighting is getting bad quick, so let's cut into this to see what we've got. Oh man, look at that. I got juices dripping out at the bottom. Look at that. Well, I think it is just about time to eat. Typically you want to take this off the smoker and let it sit for about half an hour under a foil tent, and then it's ready to serve. Alright, and so until next time, this is Jeff with Smoked Meat with Jeff. Have fun on your smoker, and especially have a lot of fun with your family this year for whatever holiday treat you're going to be making on your smoker, whether it be turkey or prime rib. I'm hoping to get a prime rib video done as well. So I'll see you next time.